Sit up straight. You've heard it 1,000 times from your piano teacher, from your parents, from the voice in your own head every time you sit down at the bench. And you've been obeying it ever since. Pulling yourself upright, squaring your shoulders, trying to look like the pianist on the album cover. But what if that's one of the biggest things holding back your playing? I'm Joseph Arnold. I'm a professional violinist and certified Alexander technique teacher. For over 20 years, I've been helping musicians who are fighting with their own bodies. And one of the biggest blocks I see isn't a strength or a technique or a flexibility problem. It's the very attempt to try to have good posture. So by the end of this video, you'll understand why the effort of sitting up straight is actually creating tension in your hands and arms, and I'll show you what to do instead. So let me start with something that might sound kind of strange. Try this right now. So wherever you're sitting, pull yourself up into your best good posture, shoulders back, spine tall, the way your teacher told you to sit, and hold it for about 10 seconds. So now notice, did your body get tighter or freer? Where's the effort? You might feel your back muscles are working, your shoulders are held in place, your core is bracing. There's a whole layer of muscular effort happening just to maintain that position. And this is before you ever even play a single note. So now let go, just stop holding and let your body settle to wherever it wants to go. So did you feel the difference? Did you get tighter or freer? The release you just felt, that was all the effort you were adding on top of just being you. And here's the thing, that tension is already interfering with your playing. And if that tension is already interfering with your playing, then trying to have good posture only adds to the problem. That you have two problems instead of just one. The tension then builds during every scale, every chord, every passage. Your hands are trying to play piano on top of a body that's already working really hard just to sit there. So in a minute, I'll show you what exactly happens in your arms when you hold that posture. But first, there's a reason this matters more than you might think. So here, I had a student recently, let's call her Stacy, who described her experience with my techniques as having loosened the knot. She had taken several lessons recently, and she's been playing music for decades with chronic tension that no amount of stretching or warm-ups could fix. And when I watched her play, her technique is solid. Her practice habits were excellent, but she was holding herself in what she thought was the perfect posture for the entire session. Rigid, upright, braced. And the moment I got her to stop doing that, she stopped trying to sit correctly and instead let her body organize itself. Everything changed. Her shoulders dropped. Her arms felt lighter. Her hands moved differently on the keys. Her whole body flowed with the music. She said, I had no idea I was working that hard to just sit there. And this is not unusual. Most pianists don't realize how much energy they're spending on posture because they've been doing it since they were 8 years old. It's invisible. It feels like just sitting, but it's not. It's working. It's trying hard. It's unnecessary effort and tension. So what's actually happening in your body when you sit up straight? All right, when you pull yourself into that upright position, you're contracting the muscles along your spine, the erector spinae group, these long muscles that go from your skull down to your pelvis. These are big, powerful muscles designed for, say, dynamic equilibrium, occasional stabilization, and not sustained contraction. When you hold them tight for an entire practice session, they fatigue. And when they fatigue, the tension doesn't stay in your back, it travels, right? So your shoulder blades get pulled inward like this, and your upper arms stiffen, your forearms grip, your wrists lose their freedom, and your fingers, which need to be the lightest, most mobile part of the whole system, are now operating at the end of a chain that's tense from the spine outward. So there was an interesting study published last year, 2025, in the Frontiers in Psychology that looked at musculoskeletal symptoms among piano students and found that playing postures, including seat height, wrist postures, and shoulder position, were significantly associated with pain in the neck, shoulders, wrists, and back, right? But here's what was really fascinating. The study also found that negative emotional states like hostility and guilt were also associated with the symptoms. The posture and the psychology were connected. When you try to sit correctly out of obligation or fear of doing it wrong or trying hard, right, the emotional tension and the physical tension amplify each other. And this isn't just a small effect. Another student of mine, a guitarist, came to me with chronic hand pain, like real serious injuries, like focal dystonia he had for 6 or 7 years. He'd even tried stem cell treatment. But do you know what reduced his tension by about 95%? Not a hand exercise, not a wrist stretch. It was letting his head float above a relaxed back. It was simply refraining from pushing his head forward and down when he came to a hard spot or made a mistake. So in other words, his hand pain was a downstream symptom of his whole body postural effort. His teachers had been looking at his wrist position and the physical therapist and all that, but the actual source was 3 feet north of his hands. So now I want to be precise about what I'm not saying as well. I'm not saying slouch, right? It's not the same thing. I'm not saying that posture doesn't matter. I'm saying that there's a difference between held posture and dynamic coordination. Held posture is a fixed position you maintain through muscular effort and willpower. It's static, it costs energy, and it restricts movement everywhere downstream. Dynamic coordination, in contrast, is your body's natural ability to organize itself around whatever you're doing. It's responsive. It adjusts constantly. And it doesn't cost extra energy because your body already knows how to do it. It's just the way you're structured. And you just need to stop interfering with that. So in the Alexander technique, this distinction is everything. Frederick Matthias Alexander discovered something counterintuitive about a century ago. The effort people make to achieve good posture is often the primary source of their tension. He noticed that the relationship between the head, neck, and back was central to organizing movement in vertebrates. And he found that when you stop imposing a fixed position and instead allow this relationship to organize itself, everything works better. Your breathing deepens, your arms get lighter, your hands become more responsive and sensitive, your music becomes more fluid. This isn't just about music, but it absolutely happens. You become more expressive. So there's another study by Wong and colleagues out of the University of Ottawa that tested this directly with pianists in 2024. They used motion capture to measure cranial, vertebral, head, neck, trunk angles before and after 10 Alexander technique lessons, and the results were clear. AT lessons significantly changed these postural angles, and the changes persisted for over 4 weeks later. But here's the critical detail. The direction of change wasn't towards a different, correct posture. It was towards less rigidity, less holding, more freedom. The pianists didn't achieve better posture. They achieved less postural effort, and so their overall tension decreased. So, if posture isn't the answer, what is? Here's what I teach my students. Instead of sitting up straight, try this experiment. So sit at your piano and notice how you're sitting. Don't try to change anything, just notice for now. Are you trying to hold yourself up? Is your back working? Are your shoulders pulled back? Now, imagine that someone removed the concept of good posture from your vocabulary entirely. There's no right way to sit. There's no wrong way to sit. There's just you at the piano. To try to embody this, you can say to yourself, I'm at ease with myself and I have plenty of time. Let that sink in. I'm at ease with myself and I have plenty of time. Let your head float in space and be gently aware of the space all around you. You can let your shoulders go wherever they want to go. Let your spine find whatever shape it finds. There is no such thing as sitting up straight because, look, your spine has 4 curves in it. There's nothing straight in the human body. It might feel like you're slouching at first. This is really common, but you're probably not. You're just letting go of the holding pattern. And so what you think of as slouching is actually the release of effort that you've been maintaining for so long that it felt natural or neutral. So now play something. Play anything, a scale, chord progression, the beginning of a piece, whatever it is. And notice what your hands feel like. Is there more freedom? Is there less grip? Do your fingers move with less effort? What happens in moments of technical challenge or when you make a mistake? Do you grip your head forward and down, or can you refrain from that movement? Or, some people do the opposite. They go too straight up. So this isn't about stop moving. It's about refrain from pushing your head forward and down when you do the hard thing. All right? Refrain from tensing up when you do the hard thing. So most people notice the difference immediately, and most of my students. So it's not because I give them a better posture, but because they stopped adding unnecessary effort to the posture they have. And this is one of the big things that I teach in my Soulforce arts approach. Your body already knows how to sit at a piano. The posture you've been maintaining is an interference pattern, not a foundation. The magic pause, a moment where you simply notice what you're doing before you add effort, is one tool among many that I teach that interrupts the interference. That's all it is. You just have to interrupt the interference and everything works better. Another student of mine recently described the shift. With the pause, I just execute and I have no tension. It's the trying to get it right that causes tension, not the execution itself. So that applies to posture as much as it applies to passages. The tension of sitting correctly is making your playing harder. So here's your practice this week. Before your next session, sit at the piano and just do nothing for 10 seconds. Don't try to fix your posture. Don't adjust your bench height. Don't try to sit up straight. Just sit and notice what your body is doing. Are you working hard to hold yourself up? Or can you let go of some of that work? And then play your warm-ups from that place of ease. See what changes. So I think you'll find that your hands were like waiting for permission to relax. And that permission doesn't come from a hand exercise. It comes from your head-neck-back relationship. All right. So if this shifted something for you, leave a comment. I read all of them. And if you want to go deeper into this work, I run a couple things. So I run a free live group called the Musician's Tension Reset Lab. I offer one-on-one sessions, and I'm thinking about starting a group course sometime soon. So if you're interested in any of that, you can see more in the links below, soulforcearts.com. And please hit subscribe and like. It really does help this channel grow, and part of my mission here is to help musicians play more freely, because that's what music is supposed to be about, right? It's not supposed to be this effortful, anxiety-ridden, tense exercise, right? Music is about opening a channel to something within. This is what I call Soulforce, right? And you can't do that if you're really tense. And I want to help, thousands of musicians, maybe more, play more freely, because that's what I think the world really needs from us right now. So I also wrote a full blog post on this, and you can find all that stuff in the link below. Anyway, and if you haven't seen it yet, watch my other video on the left hand frame is a trap. This is something specific for violinists, but it goes into the same principles just from a different angle. So even if you're a pianist, you might still get some benefit from watching that. All right, that's all for today. See you next time.